After my third baby, I was scheduled to have a tubal. When I found out I was pregnant with my third, our sweet Kennedy Caroline, it was probably, the beginning of the height of the worst possible financial time for us. We were struggling to make ends meet with 2 children, and we had talked throughout the pregnancy and said the responsible thing to do was to make this our last baby, have the tubal, and be done with it and feel good about ourselves making that decision. And after a very emotional pregnancy, so many different things happening, this beautiful, perfectly healthy baby girl was born, and I was completely enamored by her. And of course, any woman who's delivered a baby realizes that it is quite an emotional roller coaster. Your hormones are everywhere those first 72 hours. And I remember almost immediately after holding her, I felt there was going to be another baby. And so, despite being absolutely exhausted after this long, physically and emotionally taxing pregnancy, all I could think about was, I'm not done yet. And so my husband, when I told him this, he was like, oh, no. You're emotional and hormonal. This was our plan for months. You agreed to it. You need to follow through with our plan of getting the tubal. You cannot go back on this. Again, this is the responsible thing to do. And so I remember when our midwife had come in and she said, they're gonna, the surgery team is gonna be coming in asking you questions because I was having this done the following day after giving birth. And I gave birth to my daughter at 2:34 p.m. And I remember just already crying and saying, no, I can't do this. I won't do this. And my husband had told one of the surgical team members, it's okay. You can take her back tomorrow. She'll be fine. This is our plan. I promise you she's for this. And they had said, sir, we even have to ask her on the table if she's certain she wants to do this. Like, she's not certain. And I am so thankful for the nudge of the Holy Spirit being direct and telling me that was the worst possible decision I could make. And here I am now with 5 babies, and I can't imagine how different my life would be if I would have gotten that tubal. And as a cradle Catholic, as a practicing Catholic, I still overlooked that I was taking away from God's plan, that I was going to be the one making the decision because I knew best. And no matter how selfish it was, I felt I was being responsible at the time. And I am so grateful that I said no. And again, it was also an act of faith. It was being certain, but it was an act of faith because, again, here we are, still in our 20s, this young couple, barely making ends meet. We can barely afford 2 babies. Here's our third. And now we're going to possibly chance or risk bringing another baby into this world. And God always provides. And so here I am with 5 babies. He continually provides. And I am so grateful that after months of having a very sure plan, that I completely changed my mind at the very last minute. And we know that that's when God likes to intervene. A lot of times, not until that 11th hour. And I think we have to be afraid to not completely throw our plans to the wayside, no matter how scary it might be, or how last minute it might be, or the people that we have committed to. If it is not part of God's plan and His will, and you know it, you have that conviction of the Holy Spirit deep down, do not be afraid to follow that. I can't tell you how blessed I am that I threw that plan completely to the wayside. And although I looked crazy at the time, and emotional and hormonal, it was absolutely the right plan to follow His and not my own.